Hello, good morning everybody. We're on the 28th of August 2019 and we'll start analysis by first looking at the chart which I'm having on my screen. This is gold. The first thing which I want to mention here is that I've added there's an indicator which you can see down here. This is actually a divergence indicator. It shows anytime there's a divergence. This is like MACD itself, just that I would say to place lines only, but it's just the normal MACD with the normal setting. So what I want to say now is I'm going to discuss this in the afternoon, how you can use this to actually gain an edge in the market. If you really understand how divergence or convergence works, then you can attend that webinar. Or if you want to attend how the whole thing works, you are free to attend the afternoon's webinar. I'll delete it. You're not going to use it now till in the afternoon. And the first thing which I want to mention is that if you can remember yesterday on gold, we were actually looking for a buy. We did mention that despite the fact that the Monday's candle was actually a pin bar, despite the fact this was a pin bar, we were still bullish, and therefore you ought to have been looking for buy positions irrespective of the fact that this was a sell. So if you took a buy, as I said yesterday, you actually are supposed to be in money. If you didn't take a buy, there's a level here which price needs to break beyond before we can proceed to the upper side. This is a very good resistance. We also have another level here on the lower side, which is this. So on this chart, technically, these are the levels I'm looking for. I want to mark this slightly higher. One now it looks much better. If I have to trade this symbol, I'm actually going to look for a buy from this point, or if price goes beyond this resistance. These are the only two places we have a resistance. There's a break, actually it gapped higher, to traced back as a support, a support, a support. So we want price to either retrace back up to this level so that you can buy it, or it should proceed and break above that resistance, then retrace back so that you can buy it after retracing back to the same level. So if you are looking at this chart and you want to trade it correctly, you should be looking for a buy from either this level here, or if price goes above, then this is the next best place to buy from. These are the only two places. You either buy it here or you buy it in case it goes above this level here, the one which I've marked. So we'll move forward. We'll move forward to our next chart, and that should be Brent oil. So far, Brent oil is very, very bearish, and we expect price to proceed to the lower side as long as it remains below a level, which is this. So my line up here, just disregard the levels you're seeing, the lines you're seeing here, just remain with the one which I'm having. Let me just get rid of them faster. So we have this, also have this, and then you have this on the bottom. If you are waiting to trade this symbol, you should be waiting for a sell from around the zone which I'm marking now, this one. So somebody may say that you need to wait for a buy from this point, but this is just in between the old range. If price decides to continue upwards but does not close above this line here, the zone, that means we are still sellers. What this will mean is that we are still selling, therefore you need to still look for sell position. So if you are checking this chart at the moment, you should be looking for a sell order up to around 50.866. Look for a sell, have your stop loss. If you sell it around this point, have your stop loss. If price removes you, maybe it stops you out, then you need to resell it at the tip, which is this, but have your stop loss above this level here. All the same, you can sell, have your stop loss, and then you have a take profit. This is still not okay. So we'll move forward. I will move to our next chart, and that should be SP500. Before we proceed, I'd like to mention that SP500 moves along the same direction with USDJPY. So if you'll be looking for any trade on SP500, be sure to look for the same trade on USDJPY. Both of them are somewhat positive correlated. So if you pick a buy on SP500, you should confirm the same buy on USDJPY. Also have this. Then you can see that somehow price is within some range. We are not going above 2938.0 and we are also not going below 2815.3. So if price approaches this level, we look for a sell. It approaches this level, we look for a buy. But in case it goes beyond the upper line, which is this, then we'll wait for a retracement before we can continue buying it. But if it breaks below the lower one, we'll actually look for a sell up to this line, which is this. On the upper side, we have this one. So these are the range. If price breaks above the inner range, which is this, there's the outer one, which is 3025.3. We also have 2737.8. These are the levels, this and the top one. So we go beyond the inner one, we move to the outer one. And if price breaks above the upper one, we'll continue even higher. So that, in my opinion, on the daily chart is a sell, but only when price is around this level or the upper one. So we'll move forward. We'll move forward to our next symbol, and that should be USDJPY, the one which is positively correlated to SP500. We have this USDJPY there, and just look at it properly. You can see that there's actually some range. It's the same way we had a range on SP500. We are having a similar range here. Same thing which you are having on SP500 is the same range that is currently here. So if you are trading this pair, there's a zone here which is very significant. This one. This is a very significant support. From the past, it was a support. There was a break, and then it came back as a resistance, continued down as a resistance, down as a resistance, and then down. So somehow we are still consolidating. So if you are checking this pair, these are the levels. We have this, we also have the top one. And if price, anytime the price retraces to any of these levels, we look for a sell. In case it breaks above any of those levels, we look for a buy. As it is, you need to wait for maybe a pullback up to this level so that you sell it from that point to the lower side, where if you don't sell it there, you may still have the chance to sell it if it goes below. So technically, these are the levels we are checking. We have this, a sell. We also have this as a sell. So if you are checking this chart properly, you need to be looking for the levels which have drawn, and then you trade only when price approaches those levels. If price comes back to a level which have drawn, you look for a sell from that one or a buy from that. Like depending on how price approaches that level. If price approaches a level and then begins to exhaust itself while approaching a particular level, you should look for a trade immediately. So we'll move forward, move to our next symbol, which is Euro USD. This is how this chart looks. And if I have to draw something, there's this one here. And then you also have one from the bottom, which is this. So this doesn't look very good, but it is significant. It means that although there was this massive move, we are still consolidating in between some. It doesn't look very good the way it's supposed to look normally, but it means that there's some consolidation. Just look at this. Despite this big move, nothing so much has happened to the upper side. Instead, the price continues moving down, and even yesterday it closed as a pin bar for downwards. But we are still above this level, which means unless we go below this trend line, we may still be heading upwards. Unless price clearly descends below the trend line which I'm currently aligning, this one, the price may still continue to the upper side. So wait for maybe a bounce like this so that you buy it upwards, or you could wait for price to break below, then just a retracement so that you sell it. But based on the fact that the previous day was a pin bar, the move to the lower side is highly likely. We are likely to see some very big move to the lower side, and if that move makes price to close below this trend line, then that means tomorrow we are continuing to the lower side. And therefore, I'll delete this. The first we have this, because that move, and then I had my lines here yesterday. I also had my lines here. So somehow we've gone back and we are in between the same range where we were previously. This one. This is the range where I was saying that as long as the price remains within it, you're actually supposed to trade reversals. If price continues to remain in between that range, then you're supposed to look for a trade. So as it is at the moment now that the price attempted to break above, but then it ended up closing below, we are likely to see price continue rallying in between that range. As it is now, you're likely to see price being contained in between that range. And if it closes either above, by the end of today, we look for a buy. If it closes below, then we look for a sell. As it is, I don't want to give a recommendation that you're supposed to buy immediately. I'll only recommend a buy when price approaches the main lines, which are this and this one. And as it is now, I don't think even the indicator which you are having, so there was a divergence here. We had this. So what this means is you could have actually bought it somewhere here. This is a late entry, but it was still a buy. If we check for us, there's nothing. Or meanwhile now we have nothing. The same range is still remaining. Okay, we had a buy, but so far I don't recommend going down to lesser time frame. 1 hour is okay. If you can understand what's happening on the daily 4 hours, then you can now pick a trade from the 1 hour. That's still fine. So we move forward. Just a second, let me see. GBP USD, and this is how this chart looks. If you can remember, we actually had our lines here some few days ago. We had a very good line there, and then we also had that. We also had a line at the bottom, which is this level there, and this. Then we also had a line on top. This is today, this is now the next one. So the reason I'm having actually double lines is because I noticed this one should be here, not below. So the entire place, which is this, is actually a resistance and a good place to look for a trade from. Yeah. If price can come back perfectly up to this zone, then that will be a good place to look for a buy from. If price can successfully pull back up to the zone which I've drawn, then that will be a good place to look for a trade from. So I'm not saying that the ones on top of that level are actually insignificant. No, they're significant. If price gets those levels and we see a sign that you're supposed to pick a buy, we'll actually take that buy. And if price breaks any of those levels, then the base where we expect price to go to is here. This is like if it breaks below this level, it's likely to continue downwards up to this level. This is the support. If price does not move as you're saying, then this is the place we are going to trade. We are going to wait for it at the very lower end, which is this. If price gets up to this level, we'll look for a sell, but if it breaks above, we wait for retracement before we can buy it even higher. As it is at the moment, I don't recommend you do anything, but you need to wait for price to come back up to either of those levels. If price approaches any of the lines which I've drawn, then please be sure to look for a trade. So thank you very much. That should bring us to the end of today's market overview. And I want to mention that today in the afternoon we're actually going to have a very good webinar on how to trade divergence. If you want to understand how divergence go, or you need to understand, you don't have a strategy and you want to learn a good new strategy, please tune in to the afternoon's webinar. It's going to be really useful for anyone who is starting to trade. So thank you. See you.